There we go. And I think we're live, guys. Yep.
Yeah, my Zoom's just updated and my Facebook's updated as well.
I'm just so you know, I'm known as Tuminds trainer now. I'm going to rename that to my own name. So here we go. That works. Excellent. And we're back, and we've got there's people coming in. Alistair and Hazel. Hazel has joined us.
Hey, Hazel.
Hi. AskTuminds wouldn't be the same without Hazel. Our biggest fan. Apart from Alistair's mom and dad, of course.
Well, do you know, I said to my dad, no, my dad said to me when I spoke to him last week, I said, oh, did you enjoy the Instagram live with Emma? And he said, oh, I don't watch that.
No, yeah.
And I said, oh, come on.
Oh,
I felt kind of crushed. I think he just comes to watch you, Rani.
Yeah. Can't imagine that. See, Hazel is live. Hazel's live as well. Did Hazel join the Instagram live last week, or is Hazel also not an Instagrammer?
Oh, I don't think she did.
No, I don't think so.
I think she left us, Rani. She didn't. She only wants to see you.
And what time was it again? Was it the early time again?
It was the early slot.
Yeah. So we're back. Welcome back, everybody. We're back at our normal slot, actually, although that's going to change, and I will tell you later on as well. The 2 o'clock slot on Facebook on our normal platform as well. Last week, you guys did the Instagram live, which I watched later on as well. So that went well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was good.
Good banter.
A rogue company called Scotland by Mail joined us as well.
Oh yes, that's right.
But no, it was good. It was similar to last time. It's like Facebook but different. Is probably the best way to put it, or at least how I find it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The visual experience I find as like a host is totally different to what I get when I'm doing it through Zoom and through Facebook. I
think Facebook Live is probably nicer than a better interface, probably. And
I find the chat easier to follow.
Yeah, the chat.
On Facebook.
Nice.
Yeah, it's difficult to see because on Instagram it goes past quite quickly if people add comments and things. So.
Yeah, indeed. But it's good to try out these various things. And what was it that I read? Was it WhatsApp with Messenger, or was it Facebook Messenger again that added rooms? That was it. Was it Messenger that added rooms?
Oh, in Instagram, yeah. So there's the Messenger rooms on Facebook, and then we were talking about that last week, how it's now on Instagram as well.
Yeah. So all these platforms are improving all the time, and for ourselves, what we discussed earlier on as well is we're using Zoom a lot for our sort of weekly meetings, team meetings for that. We use Microsoft Teams.
Don't speak to me about Microsoft Teams.
And hey, and that's George. Hey, another regular.
Hey, George. Welcome back.
When I see George, what was it again, Emma? About and we haven't discussed this, so don't worry. But I saw something on social media or on the news actually about comics, and there was something with people that I think it's sort of BBC actually, and I should have taken more interest in it, but there was something.
Was it the world attempt to get lots of people to join in a drawing at the same time? No.
No, there was that as well, but there was something else that was sort of for people who draw comics and everything. I should.
Well, I must have missed it.
Note of that actually too. I thought of George straight away, and there's Kev as well. Was on BBC, so I'll do a search on BBC and comics and everything, and hopefully get it. So welcome Kev as well on our usual slots on Facebook, and we've got some questions sort of on the hashtag AskTuminds, which we're going to feature, and then we have some updates as well. So hopefully it's going to be another interesting session where we can learn from each other, not just from our experienced team, but also from the chat. So don't hesitate to put your questions in the chat or share your successes in the chat as well. Love to hear that. One of the questions that comes up very often actually is how do I get more followers? Any suggestion, verbiage. Emma, any suggestion?
I think it's probably the question that I get asked the most when I do training. I think there's quite a few things. Probably before talking about some of the tips, I think something that I think you always say as well, Rennie, is it's more important to have a smaller number of engaged followers than lots and lots of followers who are not interacting with your content. But probably giving them a reason to follow you. So whether that's like news or tips or special offers, or something that what would they get from following your account?
Adding value, basically.
Yeah. And which I think we talked a lot about the content marketing thing last week as well, didn't we, Alistair, about knowing your audience and creating content for them, and engaging, I think, would probably be the most important thing. Certainly when I read articles about how to increase your followers on Instagram in particular, it's always engagement. Engaging with them is the way to do it.
Yeah. Alistair, anything to add to that?
No, the big thing that I always say is engagement. Yeah, that you need to make sure that the content you're creating, and again, not just go over the same stuff we spoke about last week, as you mentioned, Emma, but the big thing for me is making sure that you are actually thinking when you post. Is there something that someone would want to reply to, interact with, watch? If not, in my head, you're more on your soapbox telling them your opinion than trying to have a conversation. And again, it's something that I've heard you say a lot, Rennie, as well, is that we need to remember that social media is meant to be social. Yeah. So let's actually try and have like a two-way conversation compared to just one person almost preaching their own message.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember when I joined Twitter a long time ago, I think 2010 or something. And it was a time where we worked with a lot of different, well, same as now actually, lots of different sort of sectors, industries, and everything. And I specifically remember it from my Twitter profile. I wanted to get more followers as well, and I basically focused on one sector. So let's say the tourism sector. I wanted to get more followers of people who run tourism businesses. And what I started to do is, before I followed those people or started to engage with those people, I made sure my latest tweets were about social media in tourism and hospitality. So when you start to engage with people, you start to follow other accounts, you get one opportunity for those people to follow you back. And if they get a notification you're being followed by Tuminds, and they go to my Twitter account and they see something totally not related to their interest, they see a photo of my lunch, for example, they're not going to follow me. So I think that's important to keep in mind as well. Is if you want to get more followers, try to sort of go for a specific sector in that sense, and try to envisage, these people would be interested in this type of content. Let's come back to what Emma said as well. You need to add value, and make sure before you start to follow people, have a look at your Twitter profile, your Instagram account. Is that showing the right sort of content for these people? And that helps greatly, actually. Then I started to focus on golf people. Then I started to focus on different sectors. Sorry,
No, I was going to say, I think it's really important with Instagram as well, because I think, obviously people might come across one of your photos, but then they'll go to your feed and they'll decide in a split second from the last 9 photos whether they want to follow you or not. So I always tell businesses to use those 9 photos as almost like your shop front. So kind of give people an idea of what they would expect to see in your account, and you want them to come onto your profile and think, actually, I want to see lots of that content in my feed. And I think if we're talking about Instagram as well, I'm meant to say another way obviously would be to make sure you're using the right hashtags so that you can reach a wider audience on Instagram and Twitter.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Emma, because I'm going to share my screen with you and with the rest, obviously. And I did a session yesterday for a company, and I showed them how Instagram works, and I did search, you know, hashtag Loch Ness. Obviously, if you're running a business around Loch Ness, then Loch Ness would be one of those hashtags to use. And I said, you know, there's other hashtags that are less popular, but because it's Instagram, you can add multiple hashtags. You should add multiple hashtags. Now, have a look at what this brings up. Hashtag Loch Ness, and let's see if it's still coming up. If I go for the top post, but one photo came up yesterday, which absolutely looked gorgeous. It's gone now, unfortunately. But it had nothing to do with Loch Ness. and for example, this one, yeah. And I'm thinking here, Glencoe, I love Mull, Dundee, hashtag Dundee. This is as far away from Dundee as you can get, probably.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking this is not right, Edinburgh, you know, and I don't know about you, but I start to see that more as well, where people are sort of putting in hashtags for the sake of it, but absolutely not related to the picture.
Yeah, they're just trying to inflate numbers, really, aren't they?
Yeah. And I think that's, you know, that's not a way to get more followers in that sense. I feel personally, because, you know, you need to be, what Emma said as well, you need to add value. You need to be seen as trustworthy. I mean, hashtags like Edinburgh and Dundee in a picture like that, I mean, that's not trustworthy. This is just
yeah, I think in that one they even had Glasgow as well, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing anywhere like that in Glasgow.
No.
At least in Edinburgh, you've got like Arthur's Seat and stuff like that.
Yes, indeed. And there's Alan. Hi, welcome, Alan. So yeah, no, I think coming back to that question is, how do we get more followers? It's like we always say, this is not a numbers game, you know, quality is better than quantity. However, of course, you want to see more followers in that sense. It needs to be the right sort of followers. And by doing that is adding value. And adding value means, you know, is your content, is that useful? Is that informative? Is that funny? Is that useful in that sense? And also what Alistair said as well, I think the engagement is very important as well, not just posting stuff, but engaging with other accounts as well. I see George has a question, Alistair.
Yeah, I was actually just caught my eyes, it popped in. So George is saying he did his first ever live stream drawing of a new character from scratch. Excellent. Oh, fantastic. He got a lot of engagement for him and a new paying subscriber to Patreon as well. Very nerve-wracking, but well worth it. Fantastic. Excellent. That's brilliant to hear, George.
Yeah, very good, George. I know Emma mentioned that as well, as sort of drawing a live character from
yeah, my son does quite a few of them. We've done a few different ones, and he absolutely loves them. And yeah, I think it's a great thing to do at this time as well.
Yeah, excellent. Well done, George, and thanks for the tips and encouragement. Well done. Keep up the good work. That's fantastic. And don't hesitate to tag us in the post if you do something, so we are aware of it as well and can watch it. You know, so it's good. Excellent. Love to see it, George. Hazel is asking, what's the view on using the same hashtags often on posts? And I know, Emma, that's one of your questions that you get as well, and one of your as an Instagrammer, a very active Instagrammer, what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think obviously there will be some that you probably will use quite often, but we wouldn't advise using the same ones in every single post. We were talking about this the other day. There's a chance that you can get, I think they call it shadow banning, where your posts they're not visible for the hashtags if you were to reuse the same ones over and over and over again. So yeah, I think obviously there will be some that will be relevant for most of your posts, and like location ones as well. But we always advise to try and mix them up and have a variety of different ones.
I said exactly the same to the client yesterday that runs a business on Loch Ness. Of course, you're going to use the hashtag Loch Ness, but it really depends on the picture as well, and using the same hashtags for every picture is not a good practice, actually.
The example for Hazel would be, would you describe each piece of jewelry in the same way, or are they all unique in their own right? And that kind of thing that Emma was touching on about using certain ones. You can't help it, like brand hashtags. If you've got a hashtag that you use for your business, it's not as though they're going to turn around and shadow ban you for that. But yeah, the stuff I was reading up about shadow banning quite recently, it was people that are almost copying and pasting the same 30 hashtags into every single post.
Yeah, indeed. No, agreed.
I think something that she could do if you're not already doing it, Hazel, is to look at other accounts and just have a look and see what kind of hashtags they're using, or a hashtag that you like, and then click on that, and then it will give you other suggested ones underneath, and have a look at those, and check the content is obviously relevant for your company. But yeah, have a look and see what other people are using.
Yeah, I always give that same tip, like Emma said. Look at the hashtags that you're using, click on the hashtags, see at other pictures, what are they using for hashtags, and you get some good ideas from that as well.
George has actually just continued that kind of conversation for us as well. He's asking if we've ever used a hashtag generator like Tagomatic app.
No.
So I ran a personal test. I'm trying to think which one it was. I think it was a website called Tags for Likes. That I think Holly put me onto when she was with us over summer, and I ran it on. I'm just getting my phone because I can't remember my exact numbers, but I essentially put up 2 photos of, I think it was like my dog or my cat, and I put 1 photo up using lots of hashtags from one of these generators and 1 without. And actually, I've just loaded it here. So one of them got 23 and one of them got 19. So for me, it didn't actually make a difference. Other than I got 3 people messaging me saying, hey, your cat would be perfect for my page. Send us a private message and you can buy a cat collar for £25. And
really?
If you show people it, you'll get a 1% commission.
Wow.
So what I tend to find is when I have used them, and I say I think I've run about 5 of these tests so far, but every time I've used them, it's almost like I've then become susceptible to being spammed by bots.
Yeah, and that's interesting.
So it's almost like the natural engagement for some reason drops.
Yeah.
But it could just be my experience with it.
Yeah. No, I'm a bit wary of tools that allow you to do certain things to get more followers and all that sort of stuff. I'm much more a fan of the organic growth. If you're posting the right sort of stuff that people are interested in, then you're getting more followers, and you will lose followers along the way as well. But that's the how the platform works. I do the same thing. I'm following people for a certain amount of time because they're interesting and all that sort of stuff, and after that I'm not interested anymore, and then I'll unfollow them. And in that sense, there's more questions coming in. I see.
Just scroll back up. Kev is asking, question on video format for Facebook. Uploading seems to make them a bit blurry, and if you're to upload directly from the app, you get the app branding all over it. Any tips to combat this?
I saw you nodding. Oh no, that was actually the
delayed live stream.
Any comments on that? I know Emma has sort of complained, or was someone else that said when you upload the video to Facebook, it sort of compresses it in that sense, so the quality might go or YouTube. That was YouTube.
It was YouTube. Yeah, I haven't had any issues with uploading videos to.
I was going to say, what app were you using, Kev? Might be quite handy to know that, because I'm just thinking if it's putting branding over it, it might be something very specific to the app that he's using for video creation. But yeah, I normally see people complaining about Twitter and YouTube's video compression over Facebook's. Facebook's one's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I thought actually. Yeah. So yeah, if you can give us a little bit more information what app you're using, then happy to look at that.
He's just said he's using Quick.
Oh, Quick. I see. All right. Yeah. Well, I don't know how you do. When I use Quick, I never upload it to Facebook straight away. I upload it to my photo roll, and then I upload it to Facebook in that sense. So I don't know if you do that differently in that sense. Do you, when you're ready with your Quick video, do you share it straight away to your Facebook page or Facebook profile, or do you save it to your photo roll and from there upload it to Facebook? That's the way I'm doing it, and I don't get really sort of issues with uploading it. I don't think you guys do that as well, do you? When you have
No, I save it. I do
as
this.
well. Yeah, yeah. So
Kev's saying that's what he does as well. I'm just having a quick
okay.
look on mine. I'm sure there was a way that I could turn off the branding, but I could be thinking about a different app.
Oh, quick! You can turn off the branding.
There's a bit. There's like an option. Right?
The last slide that Quick is using to add to your video is one that you can disable. In a sense, so you don't get that Quick logo at the end. You can disable that last one.
Kev says perhaps he needs glasses. Out of curiosity, Kev, is it an Apple or an Android device that you're using?
Oh yeah.
Because it
no,
could
have
be
both.
that
You have Android.
I was going to say, because I can obviously check Android, see where it is on mine, and you guys could probably check it even if we do it after we drop into the comments.
Yeah, I have to say I normally don't have any problems with uploading videos from Quick. I don't see any blur or loss of quality in that sense.
Unless you're shooting it at low resolution.
George says as well, it's better for hashtags to be in the post or put them in the first comment. And again, that comes up almost every week.
As far as I'm aware, there's no difference in the reach post. I think it's just personal preference. So I always do the spacing of the 3 dots and then I space them out and put the hashtags underneath. But some people like to put them in the comments, and I don't think it affects anything really.
It's personal preference, I guess, as well. I did notice that when people have connected their Instagram account to the Facebook account, so that means that what they post on Instagram goes automatically to Facebook. They start using not the hashtags in the description, because then it gets copied to the Facebook post as well, where you see those ugly hashtags on Facebook. So that might be something that people use to say, well, you know, I'm gonna post this to Instagram with a description but no hashtags. Post it, goes automatically to Facebook, and then go in and comment on their own post with the hashtags. I've seen that quite often as well. But yeah, it doesn't make any difference. I've seen an article on a company that has done a test, and the difference was very, very marginal. It's non-existent basically. So it doesn't make any difference as long as you use the correct hashtags. I would definitely emphasize the thing as well. Use the correct hashtags for that, and mix them up once in a while. It really depends on the picture that you upload. And even in the case of jewelry, for Hazel, for example, it could be wedding jewelry or a gift or whatever. I'm sure you can, like Alistair said as well, when you describe the jewelry, for some types of jewelry, that's different than for others jewelry. So I think that's more important. People from Holland, my nephew in Holland has joined. Goedemiddag, a little bit of Dutch. And Liquid Sunshine, what is that? Belonging to John.
Oh, this was, I'm trying to think. John, I think it was, John said, hi from rainy Orkney.
Oh, I see. Excellent.
I like that, Liquid Sunshine.
Yeah, and Captain's Rest Sky, late as usual. Oh, you need to set your alarm clock for next week, because I was actually saying we're back at our normal time at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday. However, that's going to change from next week. So we'll actually have to go back to 10 o'clock, because we're getting more and more webinars scheduled in by Business Gateway that's run from 2 till 4 on a Tuesday afternoon. So unfortunately, we have to go back to 10 o'clock. So set your alarm clock, Captain's Rest. Okay, lots of comment there. Quick quality was compressed, which made it blurry. Okay, yeah. No, I've not heard from that before, but it's I'll definitely have a look into that if that's an issue. Was it an iPhone or an Android?
He's putting the wee Apple emoji, so I'm assuming it's.
I see. Oh yeah, I see. How did I miss that? Yeah, Apple. Yeah, no, I've got an Apple. It seems to be okay. I have to say, Quick. That sometimes crashes on my phone when I had a lot of photos and videos into it, and then you get that screen where it's uploading it, and then just 99%, and it refuses to go to 100%. I had that a couple of times with Quick. So but that was to do with the amount of videos and photos that I had, which I learned as well. Perfect. Right. Another question that we came in actually last week is articles on LinkedIn. Are they still important? And are they replacing my blog? Actually, now the funny thing is, I've just finished writing a LinkedIn article. It's it's been in the make for about 10 days, probably 2 weeks now. I started to write it, about 2 weeks ago, a LinkedIn article about now is the time to invest in a digital strategy. I finally finished it this morning, but it's going through the proofreading phase. So it's probably going to be published this afternoon, if not tomorrow. But yeah, I'm a big fan of LinkedIn articles in that sense. It's obviously different than a LinkedIn post. A LinkedIn post is usually a couple of lines with a link to a blog post or a web page or an event, all that sort of stuff. But I think what you can do in LinkedIn articles is showing people your knowledge and expertise, and I think that's what you can do very well in a LinkedIn article. I don't write too many articles because they are time consuming. You need to think about it a lot more than just a standard LinkedIn post in that sense. And if I look at my previous LinkedIn articles, I'll probably write one a year, which I love to do more. But yeah, have you guys written articles, Emma?
Yeah, I think I have. I have a few. I keep meaning to do more, but yeah, never seem to find.
I'm in a similar boat. I think I did like 3 or 4 over like 3 months, and then I've never gone back to do any more.
No, yeah. It's an important part of your profile actually, because when people look at your profile, the latest LinkedIn articles will be visible. You need to select that they are visible, but your post will disappear very quickly actually. Every interaction that you do on LinkedIn, I'll see if I can open up my LinkedIn so you can see it a little bit. Did I show you? I seem to remember I showed my articles on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago, or about Wetherspoon. Is that no?
I don't think you did it live, but I know the article you're talking about.
Okay.
About them closing their social media accounts.
Yeah. I'm not. So I didn't share it in this AskTuminds. Not in this AskTuminds, but in previous AskTuminds. No.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. You should see my LinkedIn profile now, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
So here we go. And here, these are the articles. So let's see. This is my activity. So these are the interactions that I have with other people. These are the posts that I've written myself. And well, actually, this was the Happy Bunch last week. This was an article that Emma actually posted. We had a good time last week, didn't we? Celebrating Tuminds 14 years, 40 years in business, 40 years of social media. Had a good time. We couldn't celebrate it together, but this was a good alternative. However, when people look at my profile, the articles are highlighted, and this is my latest article, apart from the article that I've written. That was written in 2018, so 2 years ago now. But this is me writing an article, and it's a lot longer than a normal blog, a normal post, a LinkedIn post. You can integrate a little bit more things. So tweets, you can integrate tweets, and basically this is an article about did Wetherspoon do the right thing with deleting all their social media accounts. So I've done my research, and that's important to emphasize. You know, you've done your research. And actually, I give them right, because they had 72 social media accounts, but most of them were not active. And I seem to remember that I've shown you this from Laura. Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. So Laura here, this is
this.
a perfect example why they did that. Laura tweeted, "The service is so slow in Wetherspoons tonight." And Wetherspoon comes back. "Sorry to hear, we are working on speed and efficiency across the company and we'll have it sorted in due course." And then Laura comes back to say, "I tweeted that over 5 years ago." And you can see the difference here. And I think Tommy has a sense of humor. He actually comes back and said, "Oh, maybe you have a point." You know, so basically what I'm doing here is giving my opinion about what's happening in the news, because that was on BBC television, and I give my own sort of slant on it, about my own sort of advice on it as well. And I think that's what LinkedIn articles can do for a business. If you're a professional, if you have skills and expertise, and of course, if I go to your website, it will say you have skills and expertise. But I think in LinkedIn articles, you can show it, and I think that's quite good. So yeah, in my case, I would say, or in my case, I think LinkedIn articles have a very good place in the reputation of your company and yourself. Yeah. Is it replacing a blog? I don't think it is, actually. And very often when I write an article, I refer back to a blog. So you can use, and you should use both in that sense. And obviously a blog is on your own website, and LinkedIn article is on LinkedIn. So I don't think it's replacing LinkedIn articles are replacing blogs. I think it's adding to the whole sort of mix. And again, you're creating content which is sort of indexed by Google. So yeah, I think it's a good platform to use. And I see my good friend Gavin Ellis from Forest has joined. Welcome, Gavin. Great to see you. Anything else to add to that? LinkedIn articles? No. So hopefully, if some of you have written LinkedIn articles, feel free to share that as well. I do feel that a lot of people hesitate writing LinkedIn articles, and I can understand that. I mean, I write one a year. It takes time. However, you know, it's content that is everlasting, evergreen content, and you can use it over and over again. And it's a perfect way to share your knowledge. Right, the last question I have here, but no doubt some questions will come up in the chat. How to find content to share with my audience. So that actually came back yesterday when I was dealing with a client as well. You know, they took the social media management in-house, and they're asking as well, because that's what I said, you know, it's not always about you. it's about your area, your industry and everything. So feel free to share content. Emma, any ideas about how to find content?
Just thinking about like the places that I look for interesting content, probably mostly on you know, Twitter, or putting a Hootsuite stream or a Twitter list to kind of filter different accounts that or for specific hashtags or things to try and find information. I haven't used it much, but when I did the diploma, they talked a lot about BuzzSumo. Do you use that one, Alistair?
I've had a look at it, but it's not something I've particularly used very often. I've used in the past. Is it Ask the Public? It's called.
Yeah. Sure Answer the Public.
Answer the Public. That's the one. Sorry. More instead of BuzzSumo. Is BuzzSumo's not now under their paid?
Yeah, they offer a couple of free searches, and
you've got to sign up,
time related. So you can't normally with BuzzSumo, the paid version, you can find the latest content, but you can only do that with the paid version. I'm going to share my screen so you can see. If people have never heard of BuzzSumo, you should see it now. Yeah, BuzzSumo, and you can type in a keyword, jewelry. For example, I know we've got some jewelry business on the call, and basically what it does it gives you, and it's usually a blog post or that type of content. So the title of the blog post and how often it has been shared on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, Reddit, etc. And you get you in the old days when it was more free, you got a lot more information out of it. Now it's very limited, I have to say. You know, you only get the three sort of thing there, and you can do limited sort of searches as well. But what it does do is what I always say as well. BuzzSumo, you know, if you find content that got a lot of shares on Facebook or on Twitter, that might indicate, hey, if I share that content, that might be good for my social media as well. Or if you have expertise about that subject, you can write your own blog post or LinkedIn article on that as well. It's a good way to find out what people are writing. The one that Alistair was mentioning, I love this website, answerthepublic.com. And I'm going to do a search on chocolates because
first when it loaded, I thought, is that your search?
I'm not sure if you have chocolate businesses on the call, but what I like about this is, and I love the way they visualize it. You know, these are questions that people have asked online, and this gives you wonderful ideas about, hey, you know, apparently a lot of people are asking what chocolate is vegan, for example, or gluten-free, or all that sort of stuff. If you have an expertise about chocolate, you can write a blog post about these things or a LinkedIn article about the thing. It's a very nice website to find out what sort of questions do people have on things. My favorite is, like always, the Google Alerts, which I mentioned to a business yesterday. So, for example, if I want to find out what people are talking about Tuminds, I type that in, create an alert, and anyone that mentions Tuminds on the internet, I will get a notification from. However, I can do it also for social media training. That's our expertise. I can do it worldwide or just in the United Kingdom. And then I can create an alert. So, and every time social media training has been mentioned on the website, I get an email from Google to say, hey, this website have used those exactly words, and then I can find out, hey, is it useful? Does it give me ideas and everything as well? So I often use that as well. I see some questions coming in from Michael. Vortec jewelry hat on. Digital has never been as important as now for business. Indeed, investment in all digital platforms is money well spent. Couldn't agree more. Nobody ever saved themselves rich, as they say. Yeah, I totally agree, Michael. And that's exactly where my LinkedIn article is about. You know, this is the time to invest in digital strategy, transformation, and have a look at your website and my article, and just as a preview as well. My LinkedIn article is something that we discussed in our team as well. You know, our website, for example, is totally optimized, search engine optimized on the words social media workshops. So when people type that in, especially when they type in the word Scotland or Inverness with it, we come up pretty high. But that has changed. People are now not looking for workshops; they're looking for webinars. And the funny thing is, when people now type in social media webinars, we don't come up because the word webinar was never mentioned on a website. Mm-hmm. So we had to go in and actually create a specific page on the subject social media. Our social media workshops are now going online through webinars, and that page is now optimized for those keywords. We also went into other pages and tweaked our meta descriptions, meta tags as well. So yeah, things have changed. Search behavior has changed. The way people shop, the way people buy has changed. And again, in my article on LinkedIn, invest in e-commerce, you know. And I know Alistair, who lives in Inverness as well. We've been using a lot of local businesses, businesses that I've never used before, because I don't live in city center, so you know I don't go to a bakery in city center. But now I can buy their stuff online and they deliver.
Yeah.
And what enticed me to buy from them? The reviews. We discussed that yesterday with Alistair. You know, you had a wonderful afternoon tea last week.
Yep.
From a local business in Inverness. And you said to me as well, you know, the reason I bought from them is because a lot of people had wonderful reviews.
Yeah, the reviews were fantastic, so it almost seemed like a no-brainer.
Exactly. And the way that it was easy to buy. And another business in Inverness, when I wanted to buy some of their stuff, but then I went to their website and I need to fill in this enormous form. And then I had to go to a page first to say, well, select your products here. But if you want to buy it, you need to go to that page and fill in what you want to buy. That's not e-commerce, you know.
Yeah, and then email us your bank details.
Yeah, email us your bank details. And I totally agree with Michael. You know, this is the time. Have a look at your online presence. Have a look at your website. Is it still optimized to your customers, the search behavior? But also, are you not throwing up too many barriers to buy? And I think that's very important now. Cool. Thank you very much, Michael, for sharing that. That's very good. Captain's Rest Sky, what would you recommend for keeping your website up in the rankings, integrating Facebook or blogs? Bearing in mind, I'm not too savvy. Alistair, your expertise.
If you're looking at the two options there, the Facebook one doesn't help your website. Integrating Facebook into your website doesn't help your website ranking. So definitely a blog side of things, but actually similar to what Rennie's just touched on, thinking about where your business is currently in the current circumstances. Has terminologies changed? The example Rennie just used as workshops for us have now become webinars, and making sure that you're almost staying on top of your digital strategy from that side to make sure that your website is following along that trend. So yeah, descriptions, page titles, meta tags, blogging, spring cleaning it to an extent. Yeah. So making sure that your content is refreshed and up to date. Yeah. And realistically, now is quite a good time as well to maybe think about some video content on your site as well.
Yeah, very good. Good advice, Alistair. And I mentioned in the article on LinkedIn as well is do an audit of your online presence. You know, is it still SEO optimized? Is it easy to buy? Like Alistair said, you know, integrating Facebook in your website is not really helping you with the rankings, but blogging is. You know, and blogging is a perfect way to grow into the rankings. And blogging is time consuming. There's no denial in that. However, I mean, Alistair knows as well, a blog post that we've written, how long ago was it?
Too long ago, probably like 9 years or something crazy like that.
No, it was 2014. That was
14? Yeah, so 6 years.
Yeah. We've written a blog post about how to create a LinkedIn company page without a personal profile or something like that. And daily we're getting hits to that blog post that was written 6 years ago. So that shows you how important it is for your SEO, your search engine ranking. So blogging definitely a way to do that.
The other thing that I'd always say, if you are thinking about the optimization of your website, is don't expect like immediate results.
No.
The search engine optimization takes time.
Yeah.
So changes that you make today won't really impact your website instantly. That you have to give it time for those changes to almost register with Google or the other search engines, so that you'll actually see change. So I say don't update your website today and then jump onto Google and look to see where you are. So you'll probably find that it's no different. The other thing that I would say as well is if you are looking for your own ranking is if you're doing a search for your own business, try to do it with a browser that's not using your own historic data. So it's not using cookies or your own search history, because you will tend to find that will influence your own search results.
Yeah, that's very good advice, Alistair. And it's definitely don't use services of businesses that email you to say for £99 we can get you on page 1 of Google, because what they do is using what they call black hat sort of techniques, so illegal sort of tricks of the trade that will get you to page 1 of Google, but then Google catches up with you and say, this is not the way to get a better ranking on Google. Do the proper things. That's what Google is all about now. You know, it's using alt tags, using a good title, a good description, linking to other pages internally and externally, using Google My Business, using Google Search Console, all that sort of stuff, I think is very important. Like you said, this is not something, change one thing and the next day you will see a result. This is a long-term sort of project in that sense. Cool, and we can spend at least an hour on SEO optimization. So hopefully that helped. Captain's Rest. Hazel says, do you think if it's worth paying for BuzzSumo? It really depends, you know. I sign up to a lot of stuff actually. We all do, and we try it out. And after 3 months, I'm thinking, well, I'm not using it, so I'm gonna give it up. Or yes, it's something I use. Hootsuite, for example, we pay for because that gives us value. Coming back to that important thing, if it gives you value, yeah, then it helps paying for it. They always have at least a 14-day free trial, so try it.
I just had a quick look. Their current promotion 7-day free trial just now.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, the trial alone would be worth checking.
Absolutely.
To see if you'll use it or not.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same with apps, you know, the amount of apps that are downloaded, and then they very quickly come up. You can sign up to a 30-day free trial, a 7-day or a 14-day free trial. Make sure you put the date in your calendar to sort of give it up.
Oh, one of the apps I use for Instagram stories, every time I launch it now, it pops up that I want to upgrade to Pro.
Yes,
it's not a large amount of money, but I'm like, come on, I've said no every day this week.
Yeah.
Take the hint.
So yeah, Hazel, if try it out for 7 days. If in those 7 days you decide, yeah, this is very useful, this adds value, then go for it. If not, then give it up. It's there's a lot of these tools that we use. We sign up to free stuff and then looks good, and then after a while, I mean, for SEO we've used lots of different things as well. Hazel, hi Ross. Ross is back. Neil, good friend Neil, Rotary Curler. He joined us as well. The bakery, yummy indeed. Thanks. Do you run a webinar for blogging? Well, in the Business Gateway workshops, is there a specific?
There's
one?
content creation, if I remember right. I don't think there's a specific blogging one though, is there? I've just opened my slide deck. No, there's content creation, but there's not a blogging one as such. I'm gonna do a search for Captain's Rest, and instead of saying Captain's Rest every time, I'm sure you have a name. Put that in the put that in the chat if you like. That's Captain's Rest. Here we go. Dunvegan. Very good. Website. There we go. Oh, they've got a nice website.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're the restaurant with the beautiful view. Yeah, and I'm just going to see what sort of. Oh, excellent! I'm going to share it with the rest of the. This episode of AskTuminds is sponsored by Captain's Rest. You know, it pays off to ask lots of questions. So this is Captain's Rest with the beautiful view, and I noticed that your website is WordPress. You've got the Yoast plugin, which is for SEO a fantastic sort of tool to use. But because you've got WordPress, it makes it a lot easier to blog as well. Blog is basically latest news, you know. So that's what can easily be added to your website, because WordPress is, well, started off as a blogging platform, but it's more a CMS now. But it makes sense to, and just to show you, you know, blog. I'm a big fan of blogs, and Emma is and Alistair are very good in writing blogs. They write most of the blogs, and you know, this is all content, which is over time. You know, it's all the keywords are there, and sometimes we see that in our Google Analytics as well. Sometimes people come in on this blog post because of the keywords, because not everybody comes in through the homepage in that sense. So yeah, I'm a big fan of blogs, and you know, it helps writing about not just about your restaurant and the food and the accommodation, but also about the location. I think writing blog posts about the location is a very good way to get more people that might not have heard about you in an accommodation sense or in a restaurant sense, but doing a search for Isle of Skye and come across your blog post.
Yeah, I was going to say it goes back to the content marketing thing again, but like even if it was families, you know, maybe a blog post on like 5 family-friendly things to do in Skye, or like that's how I might come across it if I was researching. What kind of things would I be researching to do on Skye, and then trying to write content about that. We
essentially planned our Copenhagen city break through doing that kind of search. Family-friendly things to do in Copenhagen, family-friendly restaurants, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, the amount of blog posts you see in that kind of content that is actually valuable is incredible.
And especially in the hospitality sector, in the tourism, and I know Marina, my good friend Marina Huggett is also on the line, who's very much involved in tourism. I went to Iceland 2 years ago now, and the platforms I used to do my research was indeed Instagram, hashtag Iceland, and Pinterest. And when I did a search on Iceland, I found blog posts. The 5 things to do when you only have 3 days to spend in Iceland, and I had actually only 3 days to spend. So you know, that content is important to me. So yeah, blogging. I hope you got the message, Vivian. I see your name, Vivian. So that's good. Thank you very much. So hopefully that gave you some ideas as well. Cool. Well, without knowing, we're almost at the end of our show. We still have some updates to do. Emma, did you notice anything that happened in the last week or so?
Yeah, there was a few things. One that we had talked about is the new Google business kind of tools that they have added. So similar to the Instagram, it's to do with the donation, trying to help people with donations and the gift cards. And so I don't know if it's rolled out. Is that just in the States? Has it rolled out here as well?
I know it's rolled out in the States, but I
think last I saw it was just stateside so far.
So yeah, I think that will be coming, which is good. And I think that's quite nice when you obviously in Google and searching, and then go to look at the Google listing. So it'll have the kind of support business section. And in that article as well, I just thought it was really interesting. It said that the global search in the phrase "how to help small businesses" has increased more than 700% since February.
Wow.
So yeah, I think obviously we've talked about it a lot in the updates of trying to support businesses at this time. So, and I think they said as well, which has been talked about before, that there'll soon be like extra features like online appointments and being able to book things online. That will be coming soon as well. Yeah. And the other one, which you mentioned to me, Alistair, was the testing of the double stories feed, which I don't really know what I think about.
the preview, I don't know if you can show this preview picture or not, Rennie. Have you got the link for social media today? The preview of it, where it's essentially the 2 rows, to me it just looks terrible. I don't know why. I just think it looks really, really ugly.
I'm not sure that it would encourage me to look on more.
To me, I think I'd be more selective with what I would watch.
Yeah.
I noticed it, and I didn't like it specifically. No. Let's see if we can find it.
Sorry, Rennie.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It was on. They shared it on Twitter, I think.
I think I've got the link here actually.
Have you? You can share it, I think. Yeah.
Let me just see if it'll
You can share your screen as well.
copy it.
Yeah, the double stories. I'm not a big fan, but hey, you know, it's all getting used to these things. No,
Sorry,
I can't find it. No.
Make sure I share the right tab. Oh, actually, the link I've loaded isn't that. I've clicked on the wrong link. I've clicked on the Twitter update that I was going to talk about.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because that was the other one, wasn't it?
I'll do a Google search. No doubt we get something. Oh, here we go. Instagram is testing.
You got it. If not, I've got it loaded in the background.
Oh yeah, share your screen. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Hopefully, you guys should.
Yep.
See it?
Oh yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
So instead of it being the one row, it looks as though it's split over two at least.
Yeah.
Which.
Yeah, not yeah.
Which to me, I just think it takes up too much screen space.
Yeah, that's right.
It almost for me detracts away from that nice initial impression where you see like a picture and a little bit more. So yeah, I don't particularly. Well, it doesn't appeal to me.
No, exactly.
The other update that I was just going to mention as well was that Twitter have now launched their native scheduling functionality. Which is something that we've all, well, anyone that's used Twitter at least has probably been kind of crying out for a long time. It does make me think, though, will Hootsuite and the likes of that kind of platform feel a bit of a pinch? Because one of the big draws to Hootsuite for me was that you could schedule content.
Yeah.
So being able to schedule tweets is quite a big game changer for me.
I'm amazed it's not happened before now.
It's been on their roadmap for like 3 years.
Yeah. I always thought it was silly for Twitter not having a scheduling built in. Why did it take them so long to do that? Indeed, but yeah, no, I didn't notice it. Alistair mentioned it to me a couple of days ago. I think that you now can schedule tweets finally from the native Twitter app.
What I would stress is don't make that stop you from actually doing natural tweeting.
No.
I think that was one of the reasons why it's taken them so long, is they've probably had a little bit of fear that there'll be people that will just queue up all their content compared to having live interaction, which is almost one of the beauties of Twitter.
Yeah.
But if you do want that marketing message to go out at 8:15 and you want to sit and have a nice glass of wine or whatever it is you want to do at 8:15, then you don't have to be sat on Twitter, which is nice.
Oh. Indeed.
And Vivian said, all we need now is LinkedIn to do the same.
Yes, indeed.
Totally agree.
Yeah, well, we mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. LinkedIn is experimenting with stories, which I don't like, to be honest. But I love stories on Instagram and everything. But I'm not using Facebook stories at all, actually.
No.
But I don't think I'm going to use LinkedIn stories. But you know, it could be wrong. It could be the next hit. But I don't see that as a big benefit.
Yeah, I almost don't see it.
Yeah. And there is Nick. Nick, you joined us 1 minute to 3. We're actually we're going to stop the show. We can talk for hours on these different subjects, but you've got kids to entertain, kids to educate, to feed, and all that sort of stuff. So thank you everybody again for joining us. At some point, I think we had 22 people on the call, which was fantastic. Every week we're thinking, well, it's going to be quieter this week, but it never happens. There's always a lot of people sort of asking questions, which is great. Thank you very much. Everybody for joining us. Next week, like I sort of already announced, next week we're not back at 2 o'clock because we're delivering webinars mainly on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we have to go back to our 10 o'clock slot, and we'll do that on Facebook. So next week, Alistair, is you and me.
Yep. Tuesday the 9th
at 10 o'clock on Facebook Live. So set your alarm clocks. Don't miss out, and Nick, make sure you're joining us at the start as well, or relatively at the start. Thank you everybody again. Stay safe. Hope it was useful. Thank you for the interaction. Really much appreciated. Great to talk to you. Great to see you in that tones. And like I said, Vivian, this episode of AskTuminds was sponsored by Captain's Rest on Sky. When this is all over, we're definitely going to visit you and enjoy the view. Great.
That sounds good.
Guys, Alistair and Emma, thank you very much as well. Every week, thanks for your input and your research in everything. And thanks all. Stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully see you back next week.
See you next week, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.